YouTube? It is once again your favorite gamer here, Above Average Cody, here to talk everything video and graphic settings here on Halo Infinite. Somehow, all the Halo Infinite videos, I have not shown you guys my graphics settings, not even once. So today we're going to go through everything that I like to run in my video settings to make this game, at least what I think, run pretty good as it can at least. And this is just my personal preference, show you guys what I generally run. I have not played with these much since the game came out. It's just I'm kind of just now getting around to showing you guys my graphic settings. So to start off, if you do not know much about graphic settings, generally you can do one of three things. You can prioritize lower graphics and make the game look worse per se to prioritize the game running better. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you can prioritize making the game look fantastic, crystal clear, all the effects look really nice, but the game may not run as good. And then you can also go for the middle ground where you're not really sacrificing any in-game performance and you're not sacrificing any like in-game visual quality. Personally, I go for this end of the spectrum I just mentioned, where I prefer game performance over really how the game looks. I will sacrifice some of those visual effects to make the game look better. I do, however, have an NVIDIA 2060, a regular 2060, not 2060 Super. The better the graphics card you have, guys, the better you can make the game look while also getting the higher frame rate in game. And we're going to go through each individual thing and what I have it on. But I just want to tell you guys, I do not have an insane graphics card, I do not have an insane CPU, and that's kind of why I want to do this video, because I'm sure most of you don't have the highest top-end stuff anyways, so I'll show you what I run on kind of my middle ground of PC components. Alright, so we're starting with field of view. I have 110. I have talked about field of view in the past in multiple videos, and by the way, guys, for frame rate, I do run around 120 pinned generally. It'll fluctuate down to like 110 to 120, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Display monitor, I do have an Alienware 27-inch. Borderless full screen, I actually run all of my games in borderless full screen just because I'm usually clicking out to either talk to chat, you know, click around in Discord, things like that. And also, guys, it's worth mentioning, I'm not a video wizard. I'm not a graphics wizard. I generally just play around with the things until I find what works for me. So what works for me, you guys may be able to run higher graphic settings. You may want to run lower graphic settings. And I just want to say that before we get into the real nitty-gritty here, because resolution scale, this is kind of like an overall, obviously, resolution of the game. You lower this percentage, you're going to have the game run better, but look not quite as good if you had it on a higher setting. If you go higher, obviously the game will look better, but you may sacrifice some of how the game runs. I'm down at 85%. Default is obviously 100%, but again, I like to prioritize the game overall running better and smoother over some of the visual quality. And the description next to it on the right side that my fat head is over, it literally says, set below 100% to up sample for better performance, set above 100% to super sample for better quality. Basically what I said to you guys. So 100% would kind of be the middle ground. That's why they default you there. Set it lower, better performance, worse visual. Set it higher, better visual, worse performance. Now I keep my minimum frame rate at 100 and maximum frame, or 120, and maximum frame rate also at 120. This forces the game to try to keep it as close to 120 as possible. The reason I did this was actually recommended by my friend Ben, because the game, when I first started it on some maps that are visually like taxing, like live fire, I found my frames were doing big fluctuations. I was feeling it mid-game. So doing this, I noticed it kind of made the game run better. And if you guys don't know, the minimum frame rate keeps the game from going below a certain point, and then the max frame rate keeps it from going above a certain point. They made this so you can be very, like, touchy with it. So you could set it between, like, 60 and 120. You could set it between, like, 100 and 120. It just makes for a gap where it can fluctuate. But if you set them both at the same, it'll make your system do its best to keep it at whatever setting each one is at. VSync, I have off. Limit inactive frame rate, I have it off. Down in the graphics setting, the quality preset is custom, just because the moment you change any of these things below that, it automatically makes it a custom setting. You can use the presets. If you choose low, it'll set everything low. If you choose medium, it'll set everything medium, and obviously high and ultra, guys. Again, the better graphics card you have, the higher you could probably go. The worst graphics card you have, you're probably going to want to be down here with me. Anti-aliasing, higher quality, uses more samples for a crisper image. I have this on low because, again, I sacrifice my visual thing. Select the quality of the temporal anti-aliasing to reduce jagged artifacts. Guys, I can't really explain that much better. That was the description next to it. I don't really know, but I have it on low. Texture filtering, higher quality improves textures on geometry that are parallel to your line of sight. So basically, things you're looking at, things on the sides of the screen, how good the textures come through. I have that on low. Ambient occlusion, another complicated thing that involves textures and things like that. I have that set to low. Texture quality. This is just the overall quality of everything you see on the map in front of you. It's the overall quality. I have it on medium because, again, you don't want everything looking bad. If you set everything to low, you may not be using the whole system to its best availability. And also, guys, it's worth mentioning down here in the bottom right is your VRAM usage. This is basically how high you can go with your system. So you'll notice the further you bump up these settings, the more VRAM you are going to use. So they give you an ideal line and a max line. The max is obviously as high as you could possibly go, and then the ideal is roughly where your system thinks you should be. So I'll show you guys just as a perfect example. If I go up on the resolution scale, you can see the VRAM goes up, but where I am, I'm actually below the recommended usage, just because I found going lower, guys, it just works better for me. Okay, geometry quality, this is basically like the shapes and things that are further distances, also medium, because I want things close and far to be semi-decent quality, because the worse you make it, the harder it is to see things further away, and just, you don't really want that. Reflections, higher quality enables higher resolution and more accurate reflections. Have this on low. Depth of field. This simulates things that are out of focus. So the lower the quality, the blurrier things will be when they're out of focus. The higher quality, they'll still be blurry, but it'll look a little bit more realistic or smoother, I guess. I have this one on low, guys. Basically, I only have the important ones on medium and the less important ones on low. You're going to start to see that. Shadow quality. It's the quality of the shadows. So if there's a sunny map, again, live fire, there's some shadows cast underneath pillars and things. I have the quality on low. I do not need high quality shadows. Lighting quality, I have this on low. So anytime it's rendering light, again, live fire, the beams of light, obviously coming from the sky. I don't need to explain that in broad detail. I have that on low. Volumetric fog quality, low, guys. Cloud quality, low. Dynamic wind, I have on low. Ground cover quality, foliage, rocks, things like that, low. Effects quality I have on low because this has to do with explosions and things like that. So if you want it to look really good and realistic when grenades blow up, by all means turn this one up, but the lower quality will disable non-essential effects. So basically things that don't affect the gameplay at all, that are kind of just there to make things look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. The lower you set it, it will turn those off. And I'm not making that up. It says it over on the right there. Forgive me, guys. I'm not a video wizard here. Decal quality, effects of decals such as bullet holes, explosions, scorches, tire tracks, and footprints. I have it on low. I don't need the high quality footprints. Animation quality, basically any movement. I just have this on auto, and when set to auto, quality is based on your CPU. When it's set to max, it forces the max quality regardless of hardware. So basically, better the CPU, the better your computer is going to be able to generate the animation quality. I just set it on auto so that my system can kind of just have at however it wants to broadcast the animation effects. Terrain quality, basically grass, things that are further away, and it reduces pop-in. So like basically if something's far away, it won't see it like pop up and all of a sudden render. Simulation quality, I have on low. The higher the quality is, the more this one eats up your CPU, which it says on the right side there. This game's already pretty CPU heavy, so I do have this one on low. Flocking quality, I have off. This is basically the quality of simulated flocks. So birds, critters, anything running around the map in the distance, up close, I have it off because if you want better quality of like animals flocking in the distance, feel free to turn it on. Async compute, I have off. Now, sensory, guys. These are things added to the game to kind of make the experience a little bit more realistic, if you were. Blur basically covers when you're like turning really fast, and obviously if you shake your head in real life, things get blurry. I turn this off, guys. I play the game and I want to see things as I'm turning rather than have them blur out. Screen shake, this causes your screen to shake. Say if a grenade goes off next to you, you crash into something with a warthog, it makes the screen literally shake, because in real life, guys, it'd be kind of shaking the ground around you, so you can make the screen shake. I have this off. You can also adjust to what extent it does this, and basically turning things like this on is just extra things your game has to produce to you visually, so I leave them off so that the game can possibly sacrifice these things to run better. The exposure, it basically changes the intensity of effects, like bright flashes, for example, explosions, equipment use, like if you're throwing the drop shield down, and cinematic sequences. I just have this all the way down. I don't really see any difference with it on or off. Full screen effects, I have 100%. Now this, you may think, oh, Cody, that goes completely against everything you just said. Full screen effects covers shield recharge and damage or equipment use, guys. So, when you activate overshield, or more importantly, you see the flash on the screen when your shields regen. So if there's things going on like explosions, maybe you have music playing, and you can't exactly hear when the shield comes back up, guys, you're able to see that flash on the screen, so you can know instantly when it's time to run out and go take some more fights. Speed lines, if you guys don't know what speed lines are, you'll notice some people, if you watch a stream, when they start sprinting, you see all these little, like, whimsies flying across the screen. Those are speed lines. It's basically just simulating, like, you're sprinting forward, so it's like the cartoon speed line effect. And then sharpening, guys, sets the crispness of edges and texture details. So if you want those sharp edge lines on buildings and vehicles, by all means turn it up. This one I have default. I just don't even touch it because I don't really see any special difference or anything. And guys, that is basically everything. Well, that is everything listed here for the graphics. I really don't have any special insights on what works best or not. Again, guys, the lower you set all of these graphics settings, the better your game has the ability to run. However, dropping them all the way down if you have really good PC hardware is kind of just pointless, because you're just making the game look worse and the game's still running just as good. You know what I mean? It's not like automatically dropping these is going to make your system run better. Personally, when I'm live streaming, I have music running, I have Discord opening, and again, I don't have like a $5,000 PC tower, so I have to drop some of these settings so that the game can run better, the stream can look better, things like that. But if you guys are just gaming on your regular setup, I promise you it's more than likely you're able to run these settings a little bit higher, especially if you have a newer graphics card like a 3080, a 3090. By all means, guys, you could probably crank these suckers to max and see no difference in gameplay. This is personally just what I run for my settings and what I find works best. But to be honest with you guys, Halo Infinite does not always run the best. You're going to get high latency games that run like crap, and I promise you, no matter what you do to the graphics settings, it's really not going to make the game run any better. So don't look too in depth. I would really just set these to a comfortable medium where the game runs good and then also the game looks good to you, because obviously we're not gaming on these PC machines such that we make the game look bad. We do want the game to look good and also run good, so try to find that middle ground, guys, based on really what I showed you here, because this is what I run. I'm not going to be changing any of this stuff unless something drastic comes out and I feel like I need to, or I get a better graphics card, which is not happening anytime soon. But that's enough talk, guys. Again, when in doubt, just pay attention to the VRAM usage down here in the bottom right. There is an ideal bar. Anything at this bar or below, you should be able to run no problem. And you can try to go to the max and overclock it, but then you risk, again, perhaps maybe skipping frames, higher latency, all that good stuff. I mean, latency is going to depend on your internet. Okay, guys, you get the point here. I'm not going to go too in-depth. That's my graphics settings. Hopefully this helped. Any questions, please let me know in the comments, guys. Ton of Halo Infinite stuff here on the channel. You guys already know that, so subscribe down below. Leave a like on the video so other people can find it. And again, comment anything I missed. Feel free to enlighten me. Again, I'm not a video graphics guru, so if you have something I'm not very educated on, feel free to educate me down in the comments. Channel memberships, $4.99, guys, and you get special emojis for all the cool live streams we do here. That does it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all very much. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.